Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a mixed bag of wrestling. This is the Matt Striker shoot interview for the botch, for rfvideo.com. I managed to see it. Actually, I'm seeing it again so I can really take in what had happened, because he really is about 2 hours and 40 minutes long, almost maybe 2 hours and 50. But when you really see the video for yourself, and you just check it for yourself if you can find it and buy it, when you really see it, he is very, very frank about how he feels about the business and how he came up in it. And it's very inspiring. But what makes it more interesting is how he said at one point during the video, during this DVD, that instead of always planning out how you're going to do a match, you have basically an idea in your head and you let it just develop organically. That's not really done often anymore. I mean, pretty much how things used to be a long time ago, they used to, of course, choreograph it. But there was some people who had an understanding that you just need to go with it. Now, with him, you could tell, and I had a chance to look at some clips, especially with the 2007 match with him and CM Punk, when a Kelly was involved and she went and showed her, well, boobies. The point was that it was a very fluid type of match. And I can remember seeing Matt Striker on and off over the years, since I've been watching. And always, I was never bored with a Matt Striker match. It was always a pretty good match. And now seeing what he had on his point of view makes some sense. The way he thought of his time in wrestling and the WWE and coming up from it. He's more of a modest, lowbrow type of person. He's not the type of person that cared about politics or trying to get something from somebody. He's the type of person that felt, what can I do for you? And whatever I do for you is going to make me look good. Because if I make you look good, that means I do good. In his case, he considered himself, I'm the jobber. And if I'm going to be a jobber, I'm going to be a damn good one. I'm going to make sure that I put the guy over well enough that I won't look like a total bitch. But by getting beat, that means not only do I look good in the back, I also make something good in the ring for the people to come back and see it again. So I found that very interesting. Him talking about what happened with him and Bradshaw. And that Bradshaw called him, and they were in Europe, I believe. And Bradshaw, pretty much drunk out of his damn mind, was calling for him. And he possibly thought, I'm going to get my ass kicked. You know what? I'm not going to be a little crybaby about it. I'm just going to go and take it. And when he said, simply, I just went down there and did it. And then later, The Undertaker, which we all know is basically the big boss in the locker room, no matter what brand you went to, and got respect from him. That tells you a lot about Matt Striker. Now, of course, you could probably say, dude, how do you know this is true? You know he could probably be lying about it. And in some cases, there are a lot of people who do lie. But when you look at Mick Foley, whenever he did shoots, what you see from Mick Foley is what you got. Mick Foley was usually very honest about how he felt. He didn't usually screw around. He told you how he felt, what he did, and he had maybe some regrets about how he might have gotten hurt, or maybe he wanted more time with his kids. But he was always proud of what he did. You can say a lot about John Cena, and I have been critical of the man myself. But when you hear Matt Striker 100% say, what you see on TV is what John Cena is. He truly is what he is. The guy talks and he does the walk. And I can respect that about John Cena. I believe the problem with John Cena, and I will be talking about this in my debate of the week eventually, because I will be doing a video on him being world champion now. He is who he is. And that's what Matt Striker is. You can just see that when he talks in this video, he pretty much says, I'm a devout Catholic. I believe in God. I'm not Christian, but I do respect that. I am a watcher. He said, if you really want to learn something, shut your mouth, open your eyes, and open your ears, and learn. See what you can learn. And what also he said, which I found was very poignant, that you don't hear in wrestling anymore. How can I put you over? How can I make you look good so I can look good? You know who used to say that? Ric Flair. And you know Ric Flair had his moments, and he always thought about himself. But when he dealt with Steamboat, and when he dealt with Sting, he put them over at very good times. He always made his opponent look good and always tried to make him look better. I can see that from Matt Striker. He didn't really get very far in the business to have a championship belt, but I've always heard people say, like with William Regal, it doesn't matter that William Regal is a mid-carder. He has his good moments, he has bad moments, but you could never say that he isn't a good mid-carder. And he doesn't know his niche and doesn't know how to do the business well. The same with Finlay. Finlay always knew how to do the job well. He knew how to do the business, and he knew how far he can go with it. Maybe sometimes he tried to go a little higher than that. Sometimes he got there, sometimes he didn't. But he never had a problem of being in that role. Matt Striker pretty much talked like that. And I found that very respectful. And what he said about The Undertaker, showing him respect after what happened with him and Bradshaw. And I believe I didn't say this. When they were in Europe together, Bradshaw and a couple other people, and Bradshaw was drunk out of his mind. Just in case I did say this, I'm sorry. But when you saw this, a reason I might be repeating it, because this also covers for Chris Benoit, I'm going to be talking about, the one who not be named. He stood up to him, was willing to take his lumps. And Undertaker heard him say that, and he said, I respected what you did. He respected the business and how people who have been in the business, even if they're jerk-offs or not, he respected them and he was willing to take the lumps. The same for Chris Benoit, and I believe the notorious fights he used to get when he first got in there. And he said clearly in this video, Chris Benoit used to chew my ass out. Didn't understand why until he took me aside one day and he said, look, privately, he said, look, I can see what you've done. You used to be a teacher, and I can see your passion for this business, and I commend you for both things you're doing. But I got to make you into an example. I'm going to have to treat you like shit so people will respect you. Because right now, you're a newcomer, and they think you're going to try and get anything. And they're going to talk shit about you. But I'm going to treat you like shit. I'm going to make you like dirt. But in the end, when it comes back around, they're going to be your best friends. And he said he learned that from Chris. And Chris was there for him and helped him when he needed help. When he was back home, because they didn't live too far away from each other, Chris would call him up and say, hey, you need some help? You want to train? He even said at one point during the video, I used to dress not in a locker, but in a janitor's closet because Chris told me to do that. That would help me to get over eventually. And he got robbed. Chris said, look, I'm going to give you some money. And I'm going to do what I can to help you. And in the end, when it was finally done, well, this is obviously before what he did. He put him over in front of everyone. And he was respected after that. These are the things that we don't hear anymore in the wrestling business because simply it's taboo now to talk about someone who's done something evil, as people would consider it. And if anyone has seen my videos on Chris Benoit, and I know this is something we don't want to talk about, I'm going to be honest here. People make mistakes in the business. Everyone makes mistakes. Matt Striker himself talks about having anxiety and depression during the time he was wrestling. And it's always a fight sometimes for some people who are in this business when it's time to get out, or when it's time to get help, or when it's time to turn and become something better. Now with Matt Striker, he managed to straighten out his life. He managed to get better and not have so much depression. Right now he's not working in WWE, doesn't mean he's going to not do well. He's still with Tommy Dreamer as friends. He talks about dealing with the Sandman, Probably still friends with Sabu. Hell, he met Jimmy Snuka when he first started out. This man has learned so much from the business. He's been through many indie promotions. This man is going to do very well without the WWE. I'm hoping he'll open up a dojo himself, a wrestling school. He can actually teach a lot of people what he learned. And I'm hoping he does. Go back to your roots, Matt Striker. Become a teacher again, but this time be a teacher for the business. Because you can truly give something back for what you've learned. And I wish to give, if I had to give this video a view, this DVD, I give it a B. It's actually very compelling storytelling. Well, it's his real life. I mean, he's shooting right there. But it's really good. And I recommend people picking it up. So I hope you enjoyed this mixed bag of wrestling. Subscribe and comment to my channel and give me a thumbs up. I'm very sorry I could not get my WWE Raw review done. Unfortunately, there's certain things that's going on right now. They're not bad, but it's very hectic for me. It's very complicated and actually kind of stressful. I managed to do this, and I'm sure I'm going to be able to do my TNA review. But as you've seen, the videos have been a little late due to the fact of the things I have to deal with. So I hope you understand it's going to be a little late, my videos, until this situation gets rectified. And I hope you understand, and I hope you keep watching. Peace!